Hi, this lesson is for complete beginners. Just going to go over the guitar to give us some familiarity with the instrument. It's the head, or the headstock, tuning keys, strings obviously that lay over the top nut, which hold the strings in perfect position as they travel down the neck and over the fretboard, which is the face of the neck. These are the fret markers. Frets, obviously, these metal strips that are sunk into set into the fretboard. The strings then travel down, lay on the saddle, which is set on the bridge, which sit on the top of the bridge. This is the top of the guitar, the sound hole, sides and back. That's all we need to know really, I think, without sort of going into too much detail. Open strings are E, A, D, G, B and E. This is bottom E, even though it's at the top of the guitar, but it's a lower note, so it's bottom. Bottom E, top E, both the same note, so all the notes along those two strings are exactly the same. So to work out notes on the entire fretboard, we apply the chromatic scale, as you can see above this video on the website, and start with the note of one of the strings. We'll start with the bottom E, so it's E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. So at the 12th fret it all repeats itself, so that goes back to E. Next note is F, same as down here, and then F sharp, next note F sharp. If you look, the fret markers actually mark the same position past the 12th as they do past the nut. That's the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th and the 9th. On this guitar we've only got the 3rd past the 12th and the 5th. Some guitars, well, electric guitars, have another 2 for the 7th and the 9th. Yeah, so that applies with each string. So if who's going to go A, start with A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, and so on up the neck. It's good to try to remember, particularly as a beginner, the two these two lowest strings, the main two. A lot of the root notes will be on these two strings, and you'll start to become familiar with G and A and C and D, you know, because that's the chord of C for a quick example. That's the root note. That's the root note, C. There it is, C. So you play a scale over that later on, if you know. And that's getting into sort of playing a bit later on, but so it's good to become familiar at this early stage with the root notes of the chords that will be in the next lesson. But you know, as I say, try to learn some of these notes at this stage, and it will help you as you go on further. What was I gonna? Yeah, that's right. Tones and semitones. This is a tone. That's a semitone. I think in America they call it a step. That's a whole step, and that's a half step. For example, this note is a semitone below this note. So this is D, this would be D flat or C sharp. Flats and sharps are the same, i.e., for example, a flat is a note below any note. So that note is below the note of D, so it's D flat, but it's also one semitone up from C, so it's also C sharp. So just as one example, C sharp is the same as D flat. With E and B, it's just E and B. We do have B flat because it's one down. It's also A sharp. So A sharp is also B flat, because that's B and that's one semitone down from B. So it's B flat and A sharp. But it's not C flat because it is just B. We're getting into music a little bit there, and I don't want to dissect music theory because it's not really what I do, and I'm not really interested in it to that extent really. I'm more into just what we need to learn to be able to play the guitar, and what to play and when, in key and that sort of thing. Obviously you'll pick stuff up, and if that's for you then that's good. It's not my thing though. So you know, the same with E. There is an E flat. It would be E flat, but it's not an F flat, which is the note. For example, this is E, which is F. Sorry, E. That's E flat because it's D sharp. That's D. One up is D sharp, which is also E flat because E comes after D sharp. D, D sharp, E flat. But we wouldn't have this note here is F. We don't call E F flat. It's just E. So B remains B and E remains E. I hope I'm making myself clear. Don't worry too much. Just learn the chromatic scale, and remember semitone is one step, half step. As I say, that's a whole step in America, I think they call it. That's a tone. The distance between that note and that note, anywhere on the neck, that note and that note, that's a tone. This is a semitone. The distance between these two notes is a semitone. Okay? Tone, semitone. Yeah, that's it really, I think, for now, and I hope to see you in the next lesson. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.